So guys, today is a continuation session of our previous session. In previous session yesterday, we have started discussing right fundamental concept of a TypeScript. So we have discussed some of the concepts, and today also we are going to continue our discussion related to TypeScript fundamentals. So that before starting Angular, we should know right how we are going to make use of a TypeScript programming in our application. So what we have discussed so far? So far we have discussed what are data types and how to create variables using data type. What is the difference between different data type? We have also discussed if you do not specify the data type, then is it going to work with the TypeScript? Yes. So that concept is called a type inference. So based on the assigned value, it will decide the data type automatically. So in this case, what is mandatory? Mandatory is while creating while declaring the variable, you have to provide a value. So based on the value, it is going to decide the data type at compilation time. Then we have also discussed right interface concept. So what is interface? So it is basically going to define the shape of the contract, shape or contract. So basically, right, if you want to define some properties or if you want to provide the signature, not the implementation part, then you can make use of a interface. We have also discussed right how to create interface and how to right use interface. We have also discussed right a function concept that is a reusable block. If you need some logic, right, which is going to be used at multiple places, instead of writing the same logic again and again, you can create a function and call that function wherever it is required. That what also we have discussed. Then we are also discussed, right? We have also discussed class concept. So how to create a class, how to create a constructor within the class, how to create an instance of a class. So these things we have also discussed. Then we have also discussed something called right interface, right inheritance concept. We have also discussed that inheritance is going to implement the EJ relationship. So we are going to have one parent class. We are going to have one child class. Only one-to-one relationship is going to be there. You cannot implement multiple inheritance with the TypeScript. So basically, we have a single inheritance: one parent class, one child class. The child class going to inherit all the properties and behavior of the parent class. All in this case except the private member. If you declare something as private, then those are private to that class only. Those are not going to be inherited to the child classes. So that's what we have discussed, right? So what we are going to discuss today we are going to start our concept, right, related to composition. So we have also discussed one concept called the composition. So let us proceed and understand what is composition, why we need composition, right, and all those things. So basically, guys, remember, composition is basically to implement the Haje relationship. And we have already discussed yesterday what is EJ relationship, what is Haje relationship. So Haje relationship means what? That instead of making that class as a child class, so we are not going to create any kind of a parent-child relationship, or you can say inheritance relationship. Rather than what we are going to do, we'll create a variable of that parent type within the child class. So that concept is going to be has a relationship. For example, I can say that a user has a vehicle, right? So that makes sense. But you cannot say user is a vehicle. So basically, based on the type of the statement, right, we need to decide whether we need to go with the right is a relationship or has a relationship. Is a relationship means inheritance relationship. Has a relationship means what? That means we are not going to make any right tight coupling between the parent and child classes. Rather than that parent class or whatever the class this child class is depending, that class variable we are going to create. So let us proceed and understand how to implement this composition in TypeScript. Then we'll understand right remaining concepts. So let me first go ahead. The same project wherever right what we created yesterday, we are going to work within the same project. Now, please observe. So basically, you can say this is a class. What is that class? So I'm using the class keyword. I'm creating this class logger. So within this class logger class, I'm declaring one method. So what is the name of the method? Info. And what this method taking as input parameter? Message. So basically this info method taking one input parameter of string type. And what this method is going to return? Void. And in this case, you can see I'm using a tilde operator. This is nothing but your string interpolation. So basically this message, right, going to contain some dynamic value, and that value I'm going to print here. So that is the reason why I'm using till. Instead of a till symbol, if I use double quote, then what will happen? Then it will consider the whole as a single string. So that what we have also discussed yesterday. So this logger class basically, right, if you can say, if you are developing any kind of a application. So if you are developing any kind of application, logging means it is a separate service class, and this class is going to be used at multiple locations. So now what I'm going to provide, I'm providing this as a class, and this class having two important method. One is info and another one is error. So whenever I want to log some information, I can create an instance of this logger class and call this info method. And if I want to log some error message, I can create an instance of this logger class and invoke this error method. Right, guys, remember dependency injection is also available with what I can say TypeScript. How to implement a dependency injection we will discuss, right, in our coming session. So that those advanced concept I'm not touching at this point of time. This point of time, plain object creation and how you are going to create those objects, that's what I'm going to discuss. So this class is clear or not?
Clear, sir.
Okay. So now this is my API client. So basically, guys, remember whenever we are going to work with real Angular application, not only we are going to create the logger class which is going to log the error and informations, but also we are going to create some API client class. So basically, instead of writing the same logic which is going to communicate with the RESTful services, we will create some HTTP client or API client class. So whatever the URL and all these things we need to provide to that class, and that class will take the responsibility. I mean, whenever I'm saying class means within that class, whatever method we define, that method will take the responsibility to communicate with the backend services. How to implement the real implementation, we will see. But for now, what I'm doing here, please observe, I'm creating one API client class, and this class having one method get, and this method taking one string URL as input parameter. So here it is not a right, as it is a get method. So there is no request body. So only URL is fine. And whatever the URL I'm getting as part of this method using that URL, I'm making a get request to the server. So whatever the data going to be written by the server, that data I'm going to return from this method. So actual implementation we'll see once you start Angular development. For now, so what I'm returning here, I'm simply returning a string from this method. So basically, this is a logger class which is going to log the information and the error. This is the API client class which is going to communicate with the backend RESTful or right whatever the services, and whatever the data is going to return. This get method is also going to return, right, wherever you call this method. This class is clear.
Yes, sir. Clear.
So don't go with the actual implementation. I'm not providing that implementation. Just remember, right, how we are going to create the class and method. So now we need to understand the composition. Composition means what has a relationship, not easy relationship. Now, within this user service class, whenever I'm going to do some kind of operations, sometimes there, right, sometimes I need to log some information. Sometimes I need to write to communicate with the backend services. So for that purpose, what I need an instance of a logger class. This logger class instance I need, as well as I need this API class instance. So first of all, what I'm doing here, please observe. So composition means what? Declare a variable of that type. So here you can say I'm declaring a private variable. And what is the type of this variable? Logger. So this is nothing but your composition. And here you can see I'm declaring another variable. What is that type? API client. So why I'm declaring this variable as private? Because I want to use this to right method within this user service class, not from outside the class. So within the class only, declare them with the private access specifier, right? So now whatever the variable we created here, these two variable are nothing but a composition. So what we can say, user service has a logger, user service has a API client. So now if user service wants to log something, then the user service can make use of this logger instance. Now, if the user service wants to communicate with backend services, then they can make use of this API client variable. Clear what is composition? Composition means declaring the variable within the class, not making that a parent-child or inheritance relationship. Clear?
So it is nothing like we are creating an instance of that function, right?
Not function, that class.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is a class. That class in a variable we are creating, and that variable we are initializing through the constructor now. Now, this is the traditional way of initializing the variable logger. You can see I initialize, and this API client variable also I initialize. So here you can say I'm using new operator, so that this is going to create an instance, and that instance I'm initializing. Later on, I will show you how you can write inject this instance through the constructor instead of creating them using a new operator. So that is what we will discuss as we progress. For time being, for now, we are just creating two variable and initializing those two variable within the constructor. Clear?
Yes.
Right. Now this is going to my get the user by ID method. So what exactly this method is going to do, please observe. Now this method, first of all, logging some data. So here you can see this dot logger one, it is representing this logger instance. Dot info method it is calling means it is calling this method. So once whatever the data I provided, that is going to be logged. Then you can see using this API client instance. This means current instance, current class this variable, and I'm calling this get method. So which is going to return me this response. And then I'm saying whatever the response I got, that response also I'm printing in the console window. Right. So not console window. I'm passing that response to the logger so that logger can log this information. Now, finally, what I need to do, I need to call an instance of a user service class. Yes, I'm creating an instance of a user service class. And then I'm calling this get by user ID. So that's it. So now this const means right instead of using const, what other you can make use of let. You can also make use of a let keyword. That is also fine. Right? Const means it is a right that value, this object you cannot modify. Let means you can modify the value of this variable. Right? So once I call this one, so this method will execute, but before executing this one, that constructor will be created, execute, constructor will create an instance of a logger and the API client, and using that logger and API client, this get by user ID method will invoke the respective method, and that method once executed, whatever the information we log, so those are going to be displayed here. So here you can see I'm not writing any console.log rather than what I'm using this logger.info method. Clear?
Yes. Yes.
Anyone having any question, guys? Right. So next, what you need to do, just save this one, close this one. Then what I need to do, I need to build it, right? I need to compile the TypeScript file. So what is the syntax? TSC, TypeScript compiler. Whatever the file name, index.ts, just press it. So this will generate the what file? Index.js file. So next, how to execute? We need to use a node command, right? Node index.js. So now you can see it is fetching the user ID with the one, whatever the API response, that what it is, printing. Clear?
Yes.
Right? So this is how you need to work with a composition. So if you know, some basic knowledge of C sharp composition, C sharp, this is very similar to our C sharp concept. Clear?
Yes.
Right. So next, what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss generics. Generics means what? Now, for example, if I want one method which is going to calculate the sum of a two number, that two number can be integer type, can be decimal type, right? Can be floating type. Then what I need to do? I need to create a three method, right? If one method is going to work with integer, another method is going to work with what I can say a floating point number, another method that is going to be work with the decimal. So basically, what the logic is going to be same, but as the data type, as the data on which that method is going to work, that is going to be different. So I'm creating three different methods. So this is not recommended. So what generics is saying, now instead of specifying the type directly, please make use of a generic type. And whenever you are calling that method, specify what type of a data you are passing. Right? So instead of creating multiple method, now one method you can create, that method as a generic method, which is going to be work on the generic type. And while you are calling that method, specify what type of a data you are passing, so that one method can perform on the integer value, one method, the same method can work at the decimal value, the same method can work with the right floating point values. So this is how we are using generics in our programming. Another example, if you take, right? For example, whenever you are designing any RESTful APIs, so whenever you are designing any RESTful API, so that API response is going to be always a generic type, API response of a T. T is going to specify what type of a data you are returning. That T can be list of employee, that T can be list of a product, that T can be one product information, can be user data. So basically, why we are using that generic API response of T? Because we want to provide a same structure for all the APIs. Whatever APIs we are going to develop, for all the APIs, if I want to return the data in a standard structure, I need to create a standard type. But again, all the APIs are not going to return the same data. One API going to return list of a product, another one is going to return order data, another API is going to work with the right payment information. That means what? The structure we need same, but whatever the data we are going to return, that is going to be ready T type. So basically, so API response of T means here T is going to represent the data what you are going to return. Rest of the things like is success, error, so they are going to be same status code, but the data part is going to be different. If this is not clear at the moment, let us try to understand this generic concept, right, by taking one example, right? So let us proceed. Now, now please observe. So here you can see what I'm doing. I'm creating one API response of a T. So what is I'm creating? I'm creating an API response of a T. So here API response of a T means what? This is a generic class. So what is a generic class? So not a class. It is a generic interface. Why I'm saying interface? Because I'm using interface keyword. So this API response of T interface can return any type of a data with this standard structure. What is that structure? That structure is it is going to return one Boolean value indicating whether this is success or failure. In case of a failure, whatever the message, failure message, that what you can return within this message. In case of a success, whatever the data you are going to return, that data you can return via this T. So this T can be list of employee. This T can be your right what I can say list of product. This T can be your user session data. Right, anything. So the same this particular right API responsive T interface I can use at multiple places. Only what I need to do, I need to specify what is T. So how to specify what is T, we'll see some in some time. Now, so this is my login data. So now this is going to be my login data. So what is this? See, in this case, what I'm using type. Type login data equals to token and string. So basically, what exactly this is? This is nothing but you can consider one anonymous type. So this is going to be an anonymous type. So you guys know what we mean by anonymous type in C sharp? Means one type without any class name. Are you getting my point? If I'm creating one object or I'm creating a type, but I'm not specifying the class name, but I'm specifying what are the data that that class is going to return. So we can consider that type as a anonymous type. So in this case, that type is going to be anonymous type. So we have not specified new under something like this. Only here I'm specifying token and a username. Basically, this is an anonymous type. So now what I'm going to return, I want to return this login data, right? Using this API response of T. Again, I'm going to return some other data using this API response of T. Now let us try to understand how I can return API response of login data. How I'm going to return API response of a login data. Let us try to observe. See, in this case, what I'm doing, now I'm creating a variable of a login response. So in this case, you can see I'm creating a variable of this API response. If you are getting confusion, you can also create this as a class, that is fine. But right, as in this case, there is no logic. So when there is no logic, better to declare that as a interface. So in this case, that is the reason why I'm creating. Now in this case, what I'm doing, I'm creating a variable of a login response and I'm specifying what is the type. So am I creating here any object? Is this the object creation statement? or it is going to be a simple JavaScript object? Guys,
Plain JavaScript object.
so it is going to be a simple JavaScript object. Why? Because I have not used the new keyword. New keyword means no object creation. It is going to be plain JavaScript object. But again, so whatever the type we specified here, we can only return that type of data, or we can return anything. Whatever the type we specified here, why we are specifying? Because we want to restrict the data what I'm going to return. It should be API response of a login data. So here you can say I'm specifying API response of a login data. So basically here API response of a T. So basically this login data now becomes the T. So now becomes the T means this data type, this data variable that type will become login data. Clear? So here each success is boolean, message is string, data is T. And when I'm providing here T as login data, that means what? This data variable type will become login data or not?
Yes.
Right now, here each success is true, message is login successful, and the data type is login data. In login data, whatever the properties you define, only those properties you can return. This is the strongly type nature. Clear?
Yes.
Anyone having any question, queries here? Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, see, once this object is created, whatever the message, all right, whatever the data dot token you can access, login response dot data dot username also you can access, right? If you want, right, you can also access, right, whether the login success, login success. So in that case, login response dot is success. That what also you can print. Clear?
Yes.
Now what I'm doing here, I'm creating another anonymous type, that is product, right? You can consider this is also type alias. So I'm creating a type alias for right product. Here I'm specifying whatever the properties are, ID name and price. Now again I'm creating one API response of a T, and here T is going to be what? What is this?
Array of product.
Product.
Of a product, right? So here
Yes.
if success is true, message is a product fetch, and the data. Data is going to be in this case an array. So I can return an array. So within this is the array symbol. This is my first product. This is my second product. That's what I'm returning. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Right now, again, I'm printing this message, and I'm looping through all the data, right? Product response dot data dot for each loop. So in this case, this for each loop will loop through all the product, and P is nothing but it is accessing each individual element, and from that P, I can print the name as well as I can print the price. And this is end. Clear?
Yes.
Right. So now let us try to run this one and see whether it is working fine or not. First save this one, then open the terminal. Sorry, it's not split terminal. So terminal, new terminal. Then here we need to first debug the application, compile the application, then run the application. See, first login success true, login message this one, a token is this one, username this one, message this one, product list of a product. This is what it is showing in the right output window. Clear? Clear, guys, how
Yes,
to
sir.
work generics?
Yeah.
So in this case,
Yes.
right, this is a generic class. And right, as we progress, I'm also going to discuss how to make a generic method. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now we are going to discuss the next important concept, that is enum. Enums. So enums means what? These are a named constant, fixed set of a named constant. So for example, whenever you are developing any real-time application, sometimes you need to specify an order status like pending, processing, completed, failed, cancelled, payment status, right? Different kind of what I can say gender, right? So payment method, right? Some master data you are going to use throughout your application. So instead of hard coding this data again and again at multiple places, for example, order status. If I hard code that order status string at multiple location, then I might get some right issues. Issue means what? If you misspell right, if you misspell right that if there is a spelling mistake, then you will get issue. So to avoid such kind of issues, what we need to do in generally in real-time applications, we are going to make use of enums. Enums are a named constant, so they are going to represent the value whatever you are storing, and that named constant you can make use of, right? Make use throughout your applications, which is going to avoid the typo errors, inconsistent, and it is very easy to maintain, right? So let us proceed and understand how you can make use of enum with the TypeScript. Right. Okay, let me close this one. So here you can see this is my order status enum. The way you are creating, you can say order status. And here I'm specifying this value 1, 2, 3. But guys, remember, right? If I do not specify this value, is this going to work? Will it work or not? See, in this case, what will happen? Now, by default, data value is going to be start from 0.
Yeah, yes, sir, it will work.
Yeah, default value is going to be the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here, explicitly, I'm specifying what should be the value. So if you are fine with the integral values, which if you are storing 1 for pending, 2 for paid, 3 for right, whatever in the database, that is fine. Instead of that, if you are storing these values, pending, paid, shipped, delivered, cancelled, that is also fine. So any approach, if you provided any value, that will take into consideration. If you do not provide, then that default value starting from 0 will come into the picture. So I generally prefer to use this named values, right? So here pending, paid, shipped, delivered, and cancelled. Now I'm creating one order type alias, anonymous type you consider. Right here you can see order ID is going to be a number, customer is going to be a string type, and order status, this is going to be the Now I'm going to create an order object, right? You can see I'm creating order object. So if you are getting confusion, right, you can also make this as a interface. That is also fine. So I am getting this error. Right? So that is also fine. So if you are creating an interface, that is also fine. Instead of right, what I can say, right, anonymous type, I've created one interface, and here you can say I'm creating a right, JavaScript object specifying order, right? That JavaScript object I'm specifying it is of type order. So here order ID I'm specifying, customer name I'm specifying, and here important status. So status, whatever the value I defined here, order status dot paid, order status dot saved, order status dot delivered. That what I'm going to use. Apart from this, for example, here right, these are the status, and now there is no status called processing. So you cannot write this one. So if you try, you will get error. For example, right, this is pending. So you can write pending. But if you made a spelling mistake, then you will come to know this thing right at the time of a compilation. So this is the benefit, right? That what you will get if you use enums in your application. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. So now, right, now you can see this is my method get order message. So first of all, I'm checking right switch case. Right, switch case means what is the status. So this method, right, expecting this status value, which is going to be order status. If the order status is pending, this message it is going to return. If it is paid, this message it is going to return. If it is shipped, this message is going to return, and so on. So this is basically the switch case statement where I need to provide a condition. Based on the condition, whatever the case matched, that corresponding data it is going to return. And here this is the input parameter, and this is going to be my return value, return type. And the return type is going to be string, So I can return a string right from the switch case statement. Now what I'm doing here, message, and I'm just calling this get order message, and here whatever the order one dot status, that what I'm passing. So in this case, what is the status? Paid. Paid means this message it is going to return, and that is going to be printed in the console window. Clear?
Yes.
Right, so let us proceed and write test this one. See, order object, you can see this is my order object. It message, you can see payment receipt, will ship your order soon. Updated status is delivered, and this is right delivered successfully. Right, where we updated the status. Yeah, we mark this updated status, so it is going to print the same again. Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Right. So this is how you need to work with the enums. So tuple. Can anybody tell me what do you mean by tuple?
Usually we are using tuple when we want to return more than one variable.
Yes. See, you have to understand. Suppose one method is there, right? Suppose one method is there where you need to return more than one value. How you will return?
Yeah, we can use tuple.
So if you are going to return similar type of a value, you can make use of array.
Yeah.
Can I make use of array if I'm going to return similar type of values? If I want to return three integer values, so I can make use of an integer
Yes,
array.
yes. We
But
can return
but
a
the
list.
question is, if I want to return different kind of a data, one integer value, another string value, another boolean value, then can I make use of array?
No.
Again, what is the other option? You can create one class, that class you can return. But creating class means what? It is going to take more memory in the RAM, which is also not a appropriate solution. So what is the best solution? Best solution is going to be tuple. Tuple means what? It can allow you to return, right, multiple values of a different type. Again, if you are creating a variable of tuple type, you can also store multiple values of a different type. Array can store multiple values of a similar type. Tuple can store multiple values of a dissimilar type. So that is the difference. Again, whatever, if you are storing some data, you can store. If you are returning some data, you can store whatever array you are using within the function body or as a return type. This in the same way, tuple you can also use within the logic, right, where you are going to store different kind of data. Also, you can use, right, as the return type of a method if that method is going to return different kind of a data. So let us proceed and understand this concept, right, with one example. Right. Let us try to observe. So in this case, right, what is this? I'm specifying this means this is going to be a tuple. And this course item tuple, right, going to contain how many data? Two data. What type of a data? The first one is going to be a number. The second one is going to be a string. So index position 0 is going to be number. Index position 1 is going to be a string. Clear? So this is nothing but I'm defining one tuple where I'm specifying what type of data I'm going to return and how many data I'm going to return. So in this case, course item, it is going to contain first value is going to be a number. Second one is going to be a right string value. Clear?
Yes.
Now, I'm creating another constant here. I'm specifying that the type as a course item. So here I'm specifying 101 TypeScript fundamental 102 Angular basis. Why I'm providing this thing? Now this course item is a tuple. If it is a string, then I can return a string value. But now it is a tuple. And this tuple explicitly specify that first parameter of the right first value is going to be integer. Yes, fine. The second value is going to be string. Yes, this is fine. So at this point of time, I'm declaring one tuple and I'm storing value to the tuple. This after line number 28, is that clear? Line number 24, 27, 28, is that clear?
Yes.
right? And then I'm just printing this value, whatever the value are there, they are going to be print as it is now. Now again, you can see this is going to be course drop down, right? I'm providing here, right, course drop down, and here, what is this?
Sir, can you tell me about 24? I lost.
That in this case, right, how you are defining. For example, let me give you some idea. Right, a course item, let's assume this is one. So if I specify here string, so what is means here? That means this is a variable of which type? String type. Am I right?
Okay. But generally we give colon, right, for declaring type.
We use colon. We use colon, then give type.
Yeah. So that is fine. So basically we are using something like this. Clear?
Yeah.
And you have to use let keyword.
Yeah.
So this is normal way of declaring variable, right? So when you
Yeah.
want to create tuple, you have to use type. Then you have to provide the variable name, followed by you need to provide what type of a data this tuple is going to store.
Oh,
Clear?
okay.
So now this is a variable. I mean, this is a type. And this
Okay.
type going to contain, right? I mean, this is going to, you can consider the way you are creating a class. Within the class, you are defining properties. Similarly, this is a tuple, and this tuple specifying that it is going to contain two values. What are the values? The first value is going to be
Here,
number, second
Okay.
one is going to be string. Clear?
here
This is
type
the
keyword is
syntax.
must.
Sorry?
Okay.
Here in line number 24 type, if you are declaring tuple, we need
Yes,
to use type keyword, huh? Apart.
right. You have to use the type keyword. Let is for the general variable. For tuple, you have to use a type keyword. Clear? And this is a
Yes.
tuple. So now you can declare variable. So this is the creating tuple
Creating tuple
syntax,
syntax,
right?
right?
So for what types we need to use type as a keyword, and for let, I know let is used for like primitive data types, right? But where do we use like type?
So
So
basically, type.
basically, type.
Yes, my voice is echoing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Now started echoing.
I don't know why it is happening. Okay, fine.
It's
I
okay
think
for
now,
me.
okay, now I think it's fine. Okay. See, so basically, type you need to use whenever you are declaring tuple and anonymous type. Are you getting my point? So when you are creating some anonymous type, when right, you are going to declare some tuple, at that time you need to use the type keyword. Clear?
Yeah, got it.
Now, once you define the tuple, now this is become a data type. And that using this data type, now you can create variable. So here you can say, I'm creating one course one variable. What is the data type? Data type is going to be this one. Now I'm using this course two as a variable. Data type is this one. Now it is the way you are creating the variable. Now you can. So here you can make use of a const or let that is up to you only. Clear? So this is creating an anonymous type or tuple, then using that tuple, right, while creating a variable. Clear or not?
Sir, can we give more than two position in this variable?
More than two.
Like here number and string, comma, something other value, like decimal, bool.
So I'm giving boolean, right?
Okay.
And I'm providing here true. And here I'm providing false. Clear?
Okay. Thank you.
Right? So if you want to provide, first of all, you need to define here. Once you define, then you can provide. Right? But again, wherever you use, you have to provide the same thing. Right? Right now you can say this is right. This is just I have created some variable and right and here I'm going to use this const, right? So anything is fine if you use const or like that doesn't make any sense. So now what I'm doing here, now in this case
In this
you can
case,
say
you can say,
We can create class as well, right? Why do we go for tuple? Because the same way, like we can declare the properties inside the class with number, string, and boolean, and use the class. Why do we go for
you tell
tuple?
me.
you tell me.
You just tell me why I'm using.
Sir, it's echoing actually.
I don't know why it is echoing. Anyone is here on mute?
It's echoing.
Let me mute everybody. Is that fine now?
Yes, sir.
Right? Yeah, I think, right, if someone unmuting, right, then, right, that echo is going on. Okay, that's fine. So let me explain this thing. So why I'm not using class? See, if I'm creating class, then where that variable memory is going to be allocated? You know the concept of a RAM and ROM. What is echo is happening?
Interface also we can use, no?
I don't know. Sorry. See, when you are creating a class means what? Now it is going to be allocated in the RAM, sorry, ROM. And so you know what is the running memory stack and the heap. If you are creating a class, it is going to be allocated in the heap. That reference is going to be created in the stack. And once that right method execution completed, it is going to clear that right memory from the stack, not from the heap. So if you want properly utilize, then you can go with this approach. So in this case, tuple means that memory allocation will be happening within the stack only, not in the heap. You know how the memory allocated, deallocated in case of right class and right normal variable.
Yeah.
So,
Stack and heap, right?
Sorry?
yeah, we
Yes.
got it. We know the 27. How do you access the data? The course one dot with can you give that example? How do you access like with the array type index? Because we don't have name for the the
No, it will consider as a value, no?
This is just a single value.
no, I understand it. It contains three para value, right? The
I'm
tuple.
going to discuss, right? I'm going to discuss, just wait some
Yeah.
time. So let me first delete this one, right? This is going to be my course one where I'm getting this error. So let me go ahead. I'm going to discuss, right? So don't worry. So now this is my tuple. This is, you can consider this is a user-defined data type, which is going to contain two values. I'm creating one variable of this data type so that I have to specify both the values. And I'm just, whenever I'm printing this one, it is going to completely log this data into the console. Now what I'm doing here, I'm creating one course item array. So now it is a simple course item. Now it is an array. Array means what? It is going to contain multiple course item, and that's what I'm specifying here. I'm specifying one course item is going to be 201, another one is going to be 202, another one is going to be 203. So now what you need to do, as you know, this course item, it is going to contain how many data? 1 and 2. So using for each loop, right, you can specify this thing. This is going to be the first right index position. This is going to be the second in right. This is for the zeroth index position, or you can say first item. This is for the second item. And now using this for each loop, you can access right each individual element. If you don't need title, you don't need to access now. If you are going to store the third parameter, again, you need to specify the third parameter here. First parameter is going to access this value, this title, or what naming, you can give anything here. This is for the second value. So that what you can access using the second index position. This is going to be the, this is for the index position 0. This is for the index position 1. Clear?
Yes, if it is a single, how do we access?
Single means?
Like there is, it's not a array of tuples. It's a simple tuple with multiple value. I think we use index, right?
I'm not getting with single value means what?
No, I understand. I think line number 53 is the example, if I'm right.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can cut.
Right. So now you can say, right, this is fine. So now I'm creating another course item, right? So another course item means what? So this is going to be the index position 0. This is going to be index position 1. So now if you want to access this individual value only, not a, see, if it is a collection, you can go like this and you can access in each individual values of each array item. So if it is a single value, then how you can access this particular value or this particular value? You have to access that using the index position. This is the index position 0. This is going to be the index position 1. And that's what I have done here. Clear?
Yes,
Yes
thank
or
you.
no? Right. So all the scenarios I have taken and how to completely log that course and course 2, how you can create an array, right, where you can access each individual item from the tuple. And also if I'm creating a single tuple, how I can access each individual, right, property values. Clear? Clear? Is that clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open a terminal and let me build this one. And you can see when the first statement is printed, this is 1, it is printing TypeScript 101. The course 2, it is printing this value. You can see this is the second value. And when you are looping through this, these three things are there in the course drop down. So drop down item ID, you can see that ID 201, 202, 203, and the title is nothing but this value. And when you created this course item, right, selected course, that selected course ID and value you can also access based on the index position. And always array, like, right, as it is developed by Microsoft, index position is going to be zero based. Clear?
Yes.
Right. So this is how you need to work with the tuple. Is that clear, guys? These are some basic example I'm giving. And here, understanding, don't understand from the real-time point of view. What is important to understand here? The syntax. How to create a tuple, how to store data into a tuple, how to access the data from a tuple. That's what you need to understand, right? Right, as of now. How to use this thing, right, as per the real-time application. That's what we are going to discuss with the Angular. So next, what we are going to discuss, union. So union means what? The union type allows a variable parameter return, right? Parameter return value to hold one of a multiple specified types. So, sir, what do you mean by one of a multiple specified type? For example, now you want to design a variable which can return two values, either one. So either it should return A or B. So you are having two possible values, and out of these two possible values, that variable should return one of the type, right? One of the specified type. So in situations like this, we need to use union. If this is not clear, don't worry. I generally try to explain the concept right through example. So let us proceed and try to understand this concept with one example, right? So now you can say this is coupon code. So what I'm specifying here, that this coupon code, if I specified this string, right, then what will happen? Right? You cannot store null into this variable. It is not like our Java C#. I declare a string variable which can hold null value. That is not possible. So here what is happening? Now, if you want to store null, you have to specify null. So how? Now in this case, what is my expectation? The coupon code. So when the customer placing an order, that coupon code the customer can specify if he has any coupon code. If he doesn't have any coupon code, he can pass null. So in this case, my application should be designed in such a way that it should accept the coupon code. If coupon code is not available, it should store null. How we can specify this thing? Now, by using a union operator. So this union operator explicitly tell that this coupon code variable can hold a string value if available. If not available, he can also store null value. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, in this case, as I explicitly specify, it can store string or null. If I try to store integer value, it will give me error. Why? It is not null or it is not a string value. So you cannot store this value into this coupon code. Now, let us assume I'm storing this is save 10 coupon code. That is fine. So here, this is a string value, and you can store it, and that's what it is going to print in the console. Now, how you can handle this logic in real time? So basically, I cannot blindly access the data. So in real time, so what I need to do, I need to check whether that coupon code is string or null, right? If that coupon code is string or null, accordingly, I need to handle the scenarios, right? So for example, you can see this is a function. This is my parameter. And not only you can use this union operator, right? While using this declaring a variable, you can also make use of the union operator as a method parameter. So in this case, this is going to be my method parameter. This code, it is a method parameter. Now this code value can be string or can be null. So within this code block, what I'm doing, please observe that if the code is not equals to null, so this double equals to you have to use, right, with TypeScript, right? Here it is specified. If this code is not equals to null, that means it is having some value, and that value I'm going to print in the console. And here I know this is a string type, so I can access the string method. Secondly, if this code is null, then what I can do? I can simply print this that no coupon is applied, user didn't get any. Now I can call this method by passing the coupon code, and that coupon code we have already created here. You can see that the coupon code is having this value, and with that value we are calling this method. And then in this case, it is going to return right whatever the coupon code it is going to print in the console. Then again, this variable can hold null value. So I'm setting this to null. Again, I'm passing that null coupon code so that second time it is going to print this message. Clear? So union means right, you can specify two types. Any of the type value it can hold, right? But apart from this two, anything else you cannot store. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes, sir. So since you specify string and null, like, can we do like this Boolean kind of thing? Like, suppose I want to store three
100%.
times.
See, 100%. Let us try to do this thing. Whatever you are asking one code, let give true. And what I'm doing here, I'm specifying Boolean. And I'm storing here, right, what I can say. Clear? Now, within this value, you can store some right value like this. Hi, right? That is available. Within this, you can also store some value. Clear?
Yeah. So, sir, what am I asking? Like, so you have mentioned string Boolean, and suppose I want to mention number also. So the three
What is the
different types.
problem? Right, what is the problem? So here, you mean you want to
Oh,
store the
okay.
number,
Okay. Got it.
right? Now, you can store number. That is fine. So in this case, you can store 100. If you do not specify number, then this time it should give you compile time error. Clear?
Yes.
So now let me save this one. So guys, remember every time you do some changes, you should save this one, then only debug the application. Otherwise, it will not work. So now I'm going to debug the application and I'm going to run the application. See, initial coupon code null. Then I enter the coupon code save, applying this coupon 100. Then I set to null, so it is showing no coupon code. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to discuss intersection types. So what do you mean by intersection type? Now intersection allows you to combine multiple type into a single type. So for example, you are getting, if you are going to get the data from two different APIs and each API going to return you the data with a different column name. So here you are, so from one API you are getting 5 columns, or you can say five properties. From another API you are getting some 7 properties. And now in the database, you want to store all these 12 properties in a single table, right? Then what you need to do, you need to combine these two types into a single type. And that is what this intersection types is going to do in TypeScript. So let us try to understand this with one example. So in this case, please observe, this is my audit info type. So type means what? It is going to create one type alias, or you can say some anonymous object. If you want, you can also make this as a interface. That is also fine. So let us try go with this interface, right? This is also going to my another type alias, or you can say another interface, that is product info. So here it is containing two properties created by created on. It is containing item name and price. So two different types I have defined. Now you can say this product with audit. This product with audit, I'm providing here, right, with intersection product info and audit field. So what exactly this product with audit info going to contain? Now this anonymous type, right? So, or you can say this type alias. This type alias. So you have to use your type keyword. You cannot use interface and all these things. You have to use type keyword. So this product with audit alias, right, or you can say anonymous type, going to contain the properties which are available here plus the properties which are available here. So now it is going to contain five properties. So now you can say once I define this, I can create a variable. I can specify this is going to be the type, and here I can access those variable values, ID, name, price, created by, and all these things. So what will happen if I am having this two here? See, in this case, what will happen? Now, in this case, it is going to maintain the uniqueness. So here, it will see if both are having the same name. So he will consider, right, this audit info will consider that this created by belongs to me. This product info will consider, yes, this created by also belongs to me. So there should not be any issue. So you can specify what that is going to be one, right? Right, what I can say, only one property will be come into the picture because this is going to be a new type only. So basically, what is our intention? Our intention to create a type which should contain all these properties and all these properties. Intersection means if the same properties available in both the right entities, only one property it is going to store, and that makes sense. Clear? Clear? Now,
Sir, I have a question, sir. What are the use cases of that interface and type? Can we use it vice versa? Like in case of type, we can use interface, or in case of interface, we can use type.
it is
A little bit
basically
confused.
see, interface is not going to work like this. So this is not the interface means you have to create a right uh, signature. Signature means you have to define. In case of
Yeah.
interface, what is the option? You can write if you want to store all these properties, right? Then what is the best option? What you can do? You can make sure that this interface, right, extend this one, something like this. So now this is product info going to contain these properties plus these properties. With the interface, you can do something like this, that inheritance concept. But here, what I'm doing here, I'm not making any inheritance. I'm simply creating a type, which is going to, this type means it is an anonymous type, which is going to contain all the properties what I defined here, plus all the properties what I defined here.
What
Clear?
if what if there is a duplicate in both? So it will
So
have one.
in this case, what I mean by intersection, you just tell me. Intersection means if the same properties available in both the entities, right? In this case, it will ignore right? It will right, avoid the duplication. Only one time it is going to stop.
Okay.
Here, what we are doing? Here we are just creating an anonymous type with the properties name. If the same property available here and here, no matter. Only one time, right? It will consider only one,
Yeah, got
right?
it. Can you ID to the first one and see what is any error is coming?
Right. So if you put ID here, right, you will not get any error. I'm putting this ID. Am I getting any error? I'm not getting, because in this case, ID is
Yeah,
here, ID is
yeah,
here,
got it.
no issue. Right? So
What
now
happens
what
if
I'm doing
ID
here,
is like
I'm
a different data type? With the
sorry.
ID, we have the same name but a different data type. Like ID on the first one is like a string, and the ID on the second one is like a number.
So now you will get the issue because it is not identifying whether this is right number or a string.
Right.
Like a multiple inheritance, right?
Yes. So now you will face the issue. So that is the reason why you have to specify only right same type of means this is a type shift na. So if you both are having the same name same type it is compatible, different same name and different type not compatible. Clear? So now I'm printing the complete product object, product name and the created one. So now let me run the application and see whether it is working. So you can see this is going to my product object. So this is the product name and who created it. Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
So now what I'm going to discuss the conditional statement and the looping statement. Guys, remember, if you are working with any kind of applications, right, mostly when you are going to work with the UI, you have to show this or that, right? Based on the condition, you have to take the decision. Again, looping is also there. Suppose you want to display list of a product, you need to go through the looping, right? So yes, some directives Angular provided, right? That what we are going to use for this kind of functionality. Again, within the right, within TypeScript, how you are going to manage such things, right? How you are going to implement looping, how you are going to implement, right? Repeating, right? Repeating means looping, conditional statement means if else condition. So let us try to understand, right? So I'm not explaining what is if else, what is loop. I hope, I assume you guys know what is the meaning of a if else conditional statement, what is the meaning of a looping statement. That's what I assume you already know. So that is the reason why I have told you from the beginning. For learning Angular, you need basic knowledge of any programming language. And this looping concept, this conditional concept, right? They are available in all the programming language, right? Starting from C, C++, Java, right? Whatever the language you take into considerations, these concepts are already made available. So now, let us try to understand. So in this case, what type of operator is this? Just tell me.
Union.
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 Basically, this authentication login status can be any of these values. You cannot provide anything else. So this is a union. So this variable can be success, can be this one, or can be this one. So now this is my login response. I have created another anonymous type. So status is going to be authentication status. So this is the type I'm defining. Message means any string. Remaining attempts mean if you log in, right? If you try login for one time, two time, if you provided right some invalid credential, then it is also going to return, right? You have tried two invalid attempt, two remaining, three remaining. Such kind of messages are very common in banking applications, right? So now what I'm going to do, I'm defining this login response. So once the user provided the credential, then this is what I'm going to return, right? I will get from the API and that response I need to map with this login response, right? So here you can see the status is going to be any of this one. So valid value are going to be this. Message is going to be string. So any message and what, how many attempts are remaining, that number I'm going to store here now. So now you can say I'm creating a variable, right, of response type of which type this login response type. So status is going to be invalid credential.
So
Message
can
is
we
going to
consider
be
can we
sorry.
consider can we consider that as like a limited val not able to visualize like is it a like enum? It's not enum, I understand, but it's a limit set of constant kind of things, not
Yes.
even
See,
or
it is the meaning of
because
or. Yes. Union means what? So you can make use of enum here. That is fine. This is also fine. So basically, this means this variable can hold this value or this value or this value. Nothing more, nothing less.
okay, it restrict even string it restrict only those value. That's what it's saying. Okay.
So
So
now what
instead
I'm
of
doing
that,
here,
we can use enum also. Am I right? That's what
yeah,
you're
that
saying,
is
sir?
fine. Enum is also fine. So you can make use of enum, right? So we need
Okay.
to understand different mechanism. Enum you
Okay,
already
got
know.
it, sir.
You already
Yes, sir.
discussed some example, right?
Yes.
So it's like we are declaring one variable which can have three different value.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right? And now what I'm doing here, I'm creating my login response. So this is my type, anonymous type. If you want, you can also make this as an interface. That is also fine. So you can also make this as an interface. That is also fine, right? And here this variable JavaScript object it is going to create. And this JavaScript object can contain this property: status, message, and the remaining number. Invalid credential, username or password is wrong, and this is what I'm returning. So these are some data. Now, so this is my response. Then I'm checking if response dot status equals to success, then it is going to print this message, right? Login successful, redirected to dashboard. If response dot success, right? If it is a success, what I'm doing here, please observe, right? If else condition. So here what I'm doing here, simply if is there, if this condition is success, then this is what it is going to do. Now, right, again what I can do is, so only if statement, and here if else condition. So you understand, if this condition is true, then this logic is going to be executed, else no logic. Is that clear? This is simply if statement, no else condition. Clear? The first use case, what I'm showing, only the condition. If the condition is true, then this logic is going to be executed. Otherwise, it will not execute. Clear?
Yes.
The
Yes.
second one is if else. If else means if this condition is true, it will execute this logic. Else, if again it is going to check, is the status is invalid credential. If status is invalid credential, it is going to log this one. Again, in this case, within this if else block, it is checking if remaining attempts is not equal to undefined. If a user specified some value and how many attempts are remaining, that what it is going to print. And finally, this is the else block. If this is not success, if the value is not credential, then this is what it is going to print. Clear? So here simple if and here if else. Clear or not?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Right now, again switch case statement is also there. So response to status, if success, you can execute this case block. If invalid credential, you can execute this case block. If account locked, you can also execute this block. So you can also make use of switch case statement. I generally prefer write switch case over if else condition, but anything
Line
is
number
fine.
40, sir, line number 50, can you explain one more time why we are comparing like undefined?
Hey, by default, if there is no value, right, remaining attempts, if you are not getting any value into this variable, then by default, the default value is going to be undefined. So that's what I'm checking. If the value is not undefined, means what? Some value is there, then only I'm printing how many attempts are there. Suppose the API is not returning how many login attempts are there, then what I need to print? So by default, that value is going to be undefined, and in undefined case, I'm not going to print anything. So that logic I'm right checking within this invalid credential block. Right? Why it is important? Because sometimes what happen, right? The API right returning that remaining attempt, but again sometimes they have some written in that way that is not returning that how many remaining attempts are there. So we need to handle such kind of scenarios within our application code. If you don't write this, if you are not checking this condition, in this example it will work. It is always better to check those values, right, whether they are available or not. Clear? And in JavaScript, default value is going to be undefined.
Panay,
Right?
can we change the value response dot status where we define?
Sorry.
Can we change the value of response dot status from the invalid credential to valid credential?
So here you can set no issue.
No,
Clear?
no. Not like this. Not from those three ones. Can we do some random value? If we will do, what happens?
This is JavaScript code now. So how you can do this thing at runtime?
No,
So
no.
for that purpose,
If I will do
type
status equals to fail, like some other values, then what will happen?
that is not going to be acceptable now. And for example, you mean you want to check something like this, right? So let me create this condition. Again, another condition. So here you mean you want to check something like this.
No, in line number 30, I am asking.
So
I'm
this
saying.
value is not available now. So how you can use that value in the conditional checking?
I am
Is this
saying at the line number 30.
line number 30?
Yes, here.
So you cannot store. How you can store, right? You just tell me how you can store. Is this
Okay,
value
now
defined
it
here?
is okay. No.
Cannot
Okay.
store randomly anything, right? Whatever is available here, only those value you can specify. Clear?
Okay. Okay, clear.
Right? So here status means what is type? Type is this. Means this value you can only. If they are allowing any type of value, then what is the meaning of defining this thing? Right? So now let me run this one. See, login successful. Redirect to dashboard. Welcome redirecting switch dashboard. Why it is showing login successful? Because we have set that value to success. Now, if you set this to invalid credential, right, then it will display that value also. See, invalid credential, attempt left to switch, show invalid login error message. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Now, what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss the looping concept, right? How you can execute, right, multiple statements, right, using a loop. So let us proceed and understand. So how you can do, what are the different approaches there. First of all, you can say I'm defining one type. So instead of a type, if you want, you can also specify this is going to be an interface. That is fine. So here I defined one interface, and here I'm creating an anonymous, right? I'm creating a JavaScript object here of this interface type. So this is going to be created a JavaScript object of this interface type, and this is going to be an array. So here I'm specifying 3 items. Now what I need to do, I need to make use of a looping statement. So there are multiple way of looping statement is available. First option is for loop. For loop means what? It is indexed based loop. What do you mean by indexed based loop? Index based loop means based on the index position, which is going to start from 0, it will access the items one by one. So here you can see I'm declaring one integer variable, let I equals to 0. So in this case, can I consider this I as an integer variable? Yes. Why? Now based on the value, automatically the data type is going to be assigned. Again, this I is less than the length, means whatever the items are the 3. So I is going to be less than 3. It will continue till I plus plus. Every time it will execute the loop, it will increase the conditional statement. So now, first of all, what I'm doing, the products of I. So from this array, whatever the looping variable, that first element I'm accessing. If this element is exist, ideally you can write ignore this thing, right? So it should be have some value, right? It should have getting this value. Okay. So basically what exactly it is saying, now if this item is empty, then please continue, don't do anything, right? And if not, then please access the name and the price. So that is what it is saying, right? So once you have access this value, you have to check whether this is empty or not. If it is empty, then don't do anything. If not empty, then please print the name and the price. This is for of loop, and this is best for array. So here you can see what I'm doing, please observe. Now in this case, you can see ID name price is there. So now what I'm doing here, now I'm using const p of a product. So const p of a product means what? Now it is this is similar to, right, what I can say, accessing all this product one by one, storing that value inside this p variable. And from the p variable, I can access the name, I can access the price, and right, if you want to calculate the total price, you can also calculate it at one. So this is the most recommended one, and most of the time we are going to use this for. So you can consider this for is nothing but very similar to our for each loop what we are using in our .NET programming. So for each loop, so const p of a product. So one by one, all the product data you can access using this variable. So the third option is for in loop. So use for in when you want to loop through keys of an object, right? So for example, right? So now I'm having this list of a products. So from this list of product, right, I want to select a particular product. So how I can do this thing, please observe. So I'm creating a selected product, and here I'm specifying that product ID is this, name is this, and the price is this. For it, give us the key as string, that is ID, name, and the price. So in this case, please observe what I'm doing. Please observe here. So const key in selected product. So any particular product data, if you want to access, right, in that case, you can make use of this, right, const, right, I mean this for in rate logic. So here what is happening? The key is this key is the property name. So we can access value using this right bracket notation. So this key is nothing but the property name. Sir, what is that property name? Now, in this case, right, guys remember, so what is this property name? Now, this is a simple object. And within this simple object, I have multiple properties. One is ID, another is name, another is price. So this for loop, what exactly it is doing? It is accessing these individual properties. First, it will access ID value, then it will access name value, then it will access the price value, and then it is going to print at a key value. So what is the key name and that corresponding value? That's what it is going to do. So basically, it is going to give you access in the form of a keys. So are you getting or not? So in this case, this is a single object. And I'm going to access all the properties. I don't know. For example, I created one object. I don't know what is the property name and what is the corresponding value. So what I need to do, I can loop through all the properties, and that property is nothing but the key. And based on the key, I can access the value. How? In this case, it is going to loop through all the properties. First one, ID. Then first one ID means what? You got this ID. Then from this selected product, what is the ID value? That what it is going to retrieve. Then the second time it will execute what is the property name, in this case name. Then from the selected property, what is available, that name right index position, that value it is going to retrieve. So this is very lessly used in right programming. Why? Because I can directly access as I am developing the application. I know what is the property name and all this thing. So yes, this is available, but very, very less it is going to be used. Clear? Clear or not?
Yeah, we understand. To access the value, you use key as key of product. Is that needed, or we can simply put key alone?
No, no, key of a product, because you need to specify this key is belongs to this product.
Okay.
Right, but very rarely it is being used, so you don't put more focus on this selected right
Got
for
it.
it,
Yeah,
right?
thank you.
And while loop means right, as long as your condition is not condition satisfied, if you want to access the data, you can make use of while loop,
Sir,
right?
can we see the product once, the product type, how it is defined? Okay, interface, got it. Thank you.
Right now you can say while loop, so attempt 1, so initial starting 1, maximum attempt 3, API successful. So basically what I'm going to do is, so this while loop, what exactly going to do, now it will try to access the APIs, right, the first time, second time, third time. If it is getting the data success true, it will return. Otherwise, suppose first time it call the API, it is not getting the success true, so again it will continue, again it will continue. But once the attempt becomes 3, it will stop. So first of all, you can say, so it is going to maximum attempt is this one, and it will continue till this API success is false. If API success is false, and if we have not reached this maximum attempt, then that body is going to be execute. Each time it execute, it will increase the attempt value by 1. If it is getting API response success, then it is going to print this success message. Right. So basically, this is right retry mechanism. If you have ever worked with any kind of a .NET application where you implement retry logic, if I'm consuming some third-party services, first time I invoke the service, I'm not getting any response. Do I need to return write error to the client? No. So I can try 2 times or I can try 3 times, right? Sometimes what happen, for some time network issues, some because of some reason, might be at that particular time immediately that API is done, but immediately that is also up and running. So in that case, we can give some try. So that's what you can implement using while. Clear? right? So now let me run the application. So open the terminal window, TS Node.js. So you are getting the output as expected. So you can see, first of all, I'm looping through all the items, index position 0, 1, 2. For of loop I'm using for loop. So here also I'm accessing the item, total value. For in a particular object data I'm accessing ID name price, and this is the while loop. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yeah, clear.
So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to discuss, right, access specifier. So we have already discussed what are the different access specifier. Right, access specifier basically going to specify the accessibility of a class under the properties. Whether the properties can be accessed by everyone, whether they can be accessed within the class, whether they can be accessed within the child classes. So that what is going to be defined by the access specifier, and we have three access specifier. One is public, private, and a protected. So let us try to understand this access specifier with one example. So let me go ahead. Now, please observe. So this is my user account class. So within this class, this username, what is the access specifier? Public. Public means what? Now this property can be accessed from anywhere within the same class, within the child class, outside the class also you can access this property if you are having this user account object. Password, this password is private. Private means what? Now this property can only be available within this user account class, not from outside, not from child classes also. Protected means account status. So this is available within the same type. So within the same class, uh, accessibility doesn't matter. Anything you can access. Protected and public, they are available within the child classes. Public is only available outside the class, right? So now this account status, it is a protected type. So you can access this one within the child classes also. Now you can see this is my constructor. This constructor taking two parameters. What are the parameter? It is taking the username and it is taking the password. So whatever the username and password, we are setting to this variable, and the account status, we are setting this as active. So in real time, you will get the username, password, invoke the API. API will return the data, whether the account status is active. All these things we will discuss. For now, we are not going to, we are not doing anything related to the business logic and the logical thinking. We are simply understanding the basic concept. Now, this constructor setting all these three parameters. So two value I'm getting as a right. Two value the user needs to provide while creating an instance of this class. So one value we are setting right within this class construct. Now, so this is get account info method. So in this method you can see this method doesn't take any parameter, but as also it is not going to return anything. So within this method, what I'm doing, I'm printing the username and I'm printing the account status and I'm printing password is accessible right here within this class. So this method belongs to which class? It belongs to user account. So in user account class, this password is available. So you can access within the same class. Now, this is going to my child class account to admin account. It is extending this user account class. So it is extending this user account class. So now within the constructor, I'm taking the username and password, and these two value I'm passing to the parent class constructor username and password. Parent class constructor setting also setting this username password along with this account status. Now, so once the user right provided, once you got this username and password, you are passing this value to the super class. Super means the parent class constructor. Now this is update status account method. So this method taking the new status, and here I'm updating the account status. This account status available here in the parent class. In the parent class, what type of a property is this? Protected. Can a protected property be accessible within the child class? Yes, accessible, and that is what we are setting here. And after setting, we are just printing what is the updated account status. Within this admin account class, can I access this password property? No, you can't access. Why? It is private. Now, if you try to access, you can see this password, it will give error that accessibility. You cannot access the private property within the child class. Clear? Clear?
Yes.
Right now, what I'm doing here, I'm creating an object of the admin account. I'm printing that admin username. So this username I'm accessing from outside the class. Is that accessible? Yes. Why? Because username is public. Public means you can access. Now you want to get the user info, call this method, that is fine. You want to update the status, call this method, that is fine. But from this class, right, you cannot access the password property. You cannot access the account status property. Why? Password is private. Account status is protected. Account status can only be available within the same class as well as in the child classes. Password can only be available within the same class. Why? Because they are private and clear. Clear or not? Is that clear, guys?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Now let me run this one. See, this is user details, password length 9, account update to status. Means it is working as expected. So type alias we have already discussed. So it is going to create, right, some anonymous object. Many times we have already discussed. So let me also give you one more time. So now you can see this is I'm creating a type alias for product. I'm creating this API response of T, right, where T can be anything, right? So here you can specify product array, and here it is going to return the product array. So this example we have already discussed. You can access the data using for each loop. That is also fine. So type alias means using this type keyword, you are creating an anonymous object, right? That it means. So the last thing what we are going to discuss in today's session is exception handling. Right? Yeah, how you can make use of try catch block and finally try catch finally. That what we are going to learn the last thing. So now you can see I'm creating one type alias. So this is product. You can consider this is going to be an anonymous object. Its existence only within the TypeScript code. But this will not be exist in the right JavaScript code. That's what you need to remember. So now you can see this is my product parse product JSON method. So basically what exactly it is going to take? It will take one JSON string and it will return me one product object. So basically what I'm doing here, JSON.parse. So this is a method available in the JSON class, which will convert the JSON string into a object. So this is going to be TypeScript object, or you can say this is going to be JavaScript object. Now what I'm going to do, within this object, I'm checking whether this ID parameter is number. If it is number or missing, right, I'm going to return this error message, invalid or missing ID. If name is not equals to string or missing, then I'm going to return this error message. Again, if price is not equals to number or missing, then also I'm going to return this error message. Now you can see. So what? So this logic, whatever I have written, that what I have written within the try block. So within the try block, the logic which might cause, which can throw, right, the logic. I mean, within the try block, you need to write such logic which can throw some exception. And in this case, we have written this logic and we are manually throwing some error. That error object we are creating and we are throwing. If all these validations are fine, finally what I can do, so I can create this ID, name, and price. That object I can return from here. And in the catch block, whenever I'm throwing any error, that is going to be handled by the catch block. In the catch block, I need to convert that to error instance and I can access the message property. Finally block, whether any exception occurred or not, final block 100% is going to be execute, right? So now you can see I'm trying this one. I'm sending some valid JSON object, ID, name, price. Once this JSON is created, I'm calling this method by passing this one, and that product I'm printing. While executing at this point of time, as this is a validation, so it will not throw any kind of exception. Now it is a invalid. So invalid means what? You can see I specified ID, name, right, the price. But for the price, I didn't specify any value. That means it is a invalidation. So in this case, it is going to throw the error, right? So let me run the application and show you this thing. See? First one is completed, second one is failed, right? So this is how you need to work with the exception handling, try, catch, and right finally block. So these are the basic concept of TypeScript that what at least you should know, right, before jumping and understanding Angular. So is that clear?
Yes.
Right. So this is all about right for today's session. So